Last week, somebody asked me, with a 20-year-old film camera, how do you know that you actually got the shot? Isn't using a digital camera just way better? I love my film camera, and that's what this channel is mostly about. But there is a definite place in my heart for digital photography. And I thought that was a really interesting question that person asked me, and I've been thinking about it all this week. And so I wanted to share with you 6 things that I thought about when I'm deciding whether I'm going to use a digital camera or a film camera. I don't really have a desire to shoot a wedding completely in film, and I don't really have a desire to shoot weddings in complete digital. And so I have to figure out ahead of time when I'm gonna be using digital and when I'm gonna be using film. And these are the 6 things that I think about when I make that decision. The first thing is storytelling. How do I want to tell this story? For me, one of the first things I think about in storytelling is, how is this image going to make you feel? And there's a few things that change the feeling of the photo. How in focus or how out of focus it is, like how kind of sharp and hyper realistic is the image, what the colors look like, the type of lens and the compression that I'm using. I really think film and digital can tell different stories because I shoot differently on digital and I shoot differently on film. And when I look at those images afterwards, it's just this feeling that I get. And it depends on what the story needs, and then I just follow my gut. Whenever my gut is telling me, do I need to shoot film, do I need to shoot digital, and I go from there. Number 2 is shooting environment. For me, low light and fast movement that I'm not controlling is a pretty easy scenario for me to decide to shoot in digital. So for a great example of this is like a reception. You have a reception and maybe like the bridal party or the couple is coming in and you have lots of movement, unexpected movements, changing in lighting and all of these scenarios. It makes complete sense for me to shoot digital in this scenario as opposed to film. Because the capabilities of using a digital camera, being able to change my ISO on a dime, things like that, make it very easy for me to choose digital in that scenario. But if I have lots of light and I'm able to direct all of the movement, I'm spending time with a couple at golden hour, outside, that's a scenario where I'm definitely gonna be shooting film. Number 3 is connection. This is a really important point for me. When I mean connection between me as a photographer and my subject. I find across the board, no matter how careful I am when I shoot digital, it's very easy to get sucked into the image, to get sucked into like, oh, is it in focus? Like, oh, did I get so much of my time is spent looking at the camera instead of connecting with my subject. So especially when I'm shooting portraits, like if I can shoot film, I will shoot film because my connection is with the subject as opposed to my camera. And I think how I shoot, that is one of the most important things. Like my best images come when there's a good connection between my subject and me. Number 4 is critical focus. How important is sharp focus in this moment for this photo? A good example for this for me is when a bride is coming down the aisle. I have movement. This is a very important moment where focus could be very difficult on a camera that doesn't have very good focusing capabilities, or if you're doing manual focus. When hypercritical focus is important in one of these moments, very easy for me to choose digital. I don't need to force myself to shoot film in scenarios where I just don't need to. Number 5 is editing. One reason why I love film is I get to send off my film to a lab. They do all their magic and then they send it back to me and it's perfect and it's done and I love it. And that has really helped my workflow when we are shooting wedding after wedding after wedding in the summer. On the other hand, there are scenarios where I need to do a ton of editing, or maybe the dynamic range. There's like really bright brights and really dark darks. An example for this is like when I'm shooting interior. So I have a few interior designers as clients, and those are scenarios where actually shooting film is not gonna be very helpful for me. because one, I'm dealing with a lot of bright areas and a lot of dark areas in one shot. And so sometimes I need to do something like an HDR. Sometimes I need to be able to go in and edit an image quite heavily. And that's where a digital camera is just incredible. Number 6, cost. So I just purchased some more Kodak Portra 400 120, and man, whew, that price increase is a killer. And so that's a real consideration to think about as you're shooting digital and film, is the fact that, film just costs money every time you click that shutter. And so there needs to be, especially if you're using it for a business, there needs to be a return on investment. It needs to make sense to shoot film in that moment. Is the film image really going to produce a better image? The reason I use film and the reason why I spend money on film and film development is because there are times where I believe that shooting film really does produce a better image. Not just image quality. I think it's really easy to get sucked down into like, oh, if I took a digital image and a film image, like which one would be better? I actually don't think that's the relevant conversation when you're deciding whether to shoot digital or film, because it's a really multifaceted choice. There's so many more factors than just the final image quality. And so hopefully this helps you as you're deciding whether to shoot more film, because I really think you should. But it's really helpful. It's really helpful to know and to realize that you don't have to shoot film for every single photo that you take. But at the same time, I really don't think that digital can do everything that a film camera can do.